Hey, Prime members! Have you heard? You can listen to your favorite podcasts ad-free? Good news! With Amazon Music, you have access to the largest catalog of ad-free top podcasts included with your Prime membership. To start listening, download the Amazon Music app for free or go to amazon.com/ad-free-podcast. That's amazon.com/ad-free-podcast to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.
The holidays are all about sharing with family. Meals, couches, stories, Grandma's secret pecan pie recipe. And now you can also share a cart with Instacart family carts. Everyone can add what they want to one group cart from wherever they are. So you don't have to go from room to room to find out who wants cranberry sauce, or whether you should get mini marshmallows for the yams, or collecting votes for sugar cookies versus shortbread. Just share a cart, and then share the meals and the moments. Download the Instacart app and get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes. Plus, enjoy free delivery on your first 3 orders. Service fees and terms apply.
Hello, welcome. Let's chat. It's hard. You want to talk? I know, that's disappointing. Sit back. Let's work this out. How's it going? What are we doing? Where are you going? Hey there. Wow. It's not always easy. It's amazing if you think about it. Let's think about this. Strange. I have some thoughts about that. Life is hard. Trauma bonded.
Good afternoon, Bert's Fairy Flying Corporation.
Hello, yeah, this is T. I was calling to see if you had any fairy flying positions open.
Hi, T, yes. I was expecting your call. At the moment, it doesn't look like we have any openings. Wait a second. Hold on for just a second, will ya? T, you still there?
I'm here.
It's your lucky day. We just had 3 pilots fall right into the ocean.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yes, it really is wonderful news.
Yes.
Yes. So come in tomorrow for your training, and I have some calls to make.
Woohoo! Honey, guess what? I have great news.
Welcome to Trauma Bonded. I'm Elly Westberg here with Therese Garcia.
Hello.
And today we're discussing episode 341 of the podcast. This is actually happening. What if you had an unquenchable thirst for danger? A brief. An adventurous young lad grew up doing dangerous, fun, outdoorsy type stuff. He skied, he scouted, he climbed. He pursued as much danger and risk as he could find. This continued with him as he entered the National Guard young and further developed his love for flying aircrafts. He began skydiving, but his passion for the dangerous was really alight when he started his fairy flying career. He's faced down 1,000 problems and high-pressure, near-death situations and lost a lot of loved ones along the way, but he can't deny who he is, and life is nothing without risk, according to him. And full disclosure, I am the showrunner for This Is Actually Happening, and T knows nothing about anything, but we still love her. She just comes in fresh. This show, Trauma Bonded, is for the listeners, a space where we can talk about each episode, digest it, and reflect on it with empathy and also a bit of levity. That's Trauma Bonded. T, what stuck out to you is the heart of Carrie's story.
Thank you for asking, Ellie. I thought the heart of the story could be summed up in one word. Ascent. I looked up the definition of ascent. There were 2 definitions I saw.
Oh, okay.
A climb or walk to the summit of a mountain or a hill, and an instance of rising through the air. I thought both were relevant here. It seems that he can't get high enough. Am I right? Physically, you know, top of a tree or a hill or a mountain top, cliff, cloud, whatever it might be. Higher and higher and higher. He can't stop. What's the next thing? Right? Can't stop. What's next? What's next? He's like up in the sky. What's next? He's planning it as he's falling through the air. right?
Mm-hmm.
He's chasing the thrill, cheating death, as he's just up higher, 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 right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I went with Ascent.
It's good.
Yeah.
Mine's a little different.
Uh-oh. It's a Descent. No?
Okay, so bear with me as I lay
Okay.
this out.
Here we go.
The heart of his story is that some people are born without fear and define truly living as riding that wave of adventure and risk. And we talk about stories of people who might try polyamory or into home birthing or only shop at Nordstrom. These are just like weird examples. These are all like foreign concepts to me. Really?
Is shopping at Nordstrom a risk? I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying the types
Okay.
of people.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
But none are more opposite of me than a man like Carrie.
Yes. I was thinking the same about me. Both of us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never understand the need to figure out how to survive a winter's night outside or waltz my way through an avalanche. I like the outdoors, and I think it's pretty, and air is nice, and exercise is good, but it would never occur to me to go wander off on my own to scale a rock or fly across the Atlantic for little pay. And I wish I was more into volleyball or hiking or something physical thing I love to do, but I will truly never understand this type of man or person. And it just made me think about how this is a further part of this empathy exercise we're trying to cultivate with the show, right? It's a different angle. It's a different type of person, and it's a different way to live. And I think we all perceive someone like Carrie as being privileged, right? Like the ultimate kind of privilege.
Mm-hmm.
He's willing to risk his life to even pay a fee to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because he can. And how different is this existence to people who are fighting to stay alive around the world? And it's not fun. It's not fun at all.
Oh, yeah.
So there are the privileged adventure seekers of the world who have nothing but their lives to lose for a few seconds of thrill, which I'll call life and death for fun. And then there are people born into war and conflict and dictators and oppression who face their own mortality and safety every day, which I'll call life and death by force.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's me. There's you. Someone who's also privileged, but who chooses to stay indoors and is sort of able to quote many lines from films. Like that's the type of person. So what it made me think about is like, of these three groups that I just outlined, and I know that there's all kinds of matter of groups in between. Those are just sort of three examples. Who is truly living and what is quote unquote truly living? Is it taking your life in your hands because you can, because you have the privilege to do so? Or is it someone that's actually actively fighting for their life every day because they must? Or is it people like us that just sort of fall somewhere in between where we don't have either?
Is there a level of, does it matter how much you appreciate the life that you have?
Probably.
And is that known in any of these three?
Well, I mean, I don't want to
not think that Carrie appreciates?
Of course.
Right?
But I think that's part of his privilege, though, is that he doesn't have to worry about fighting for anything he has.
Right.
I guess I'm thinking about like Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Mm-hmm.
And like if enlightenment is the top and survival is at the bottom, where do you put someone who's privileged and is risking life and limb, which really, if he's doing it intentionally, you could put him at almost the top of the pyramid, right? He's so evolved past all these other levels that he can just take his life into his hands whenever he wants. It's not like he's trying to survive, even though he is all the time. I don't know, it's kind of a brain fuck for me. Like if you contrasted him with someone, say, living in the Congo that's like been embroiled in a civil war for years and years, and people are systematically oppressed, murdered, raped, child soldiers, etc. Like these sorts of ways of living. They're just trying to get by day to day. Carrie and that person live in the same universe at the same time, on the same timeline.
Right.
How do you compare those? Do you?
Yeah, that's a good comparison. And then film quotes over here.
And then just us with film quotes. And the tech pants.
We're the shittiest ones.
Like,
it's strange.
Have you been to Costco? The Costco here is amazing.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Like, are we living life? And I'm not saying I want to be Carrie level, and I'm not saying I want to be like war-torn country level. Yeah. So I don't even know if you could qualify us as in the middle.
Are we even on that scale? I don't even. We're somewhere.
What is truly living? I guess maybe for someone like you or I, like couch potato, we would say our risks come from expressing love. How about this? What's the riskiest thing you've ever done in your life? You actually have skydove. Skydove,
and that was risky. Oh, I mean, terrible drug use, probably.
And I think a lot of people probably have that same, if they had to analyze their lives and find out and think about really where they've risked it. Again, I've never risked my life. I mean, I've grown up and I live in car culture. People could argue that that's risky. You're risking your life every time you drive a car. But I feel like the biggest risks I've taken are, I don't know, telling someone I love them, even though I wasn't confident of the I love you in return. Do I get to count that? I mean, I wasn't going to die, but I was going to die a little.
Feely. I don't think, you died. No, it's valid. It's valid.
I just feel like I live my life pretty
more
safe.
Emotional than physical, I guess.
It's a very safe, physically safe life that I lead, except for the car thing. I don't know. It got me thinking, like, about these existential things. And this is like kind of a uniquely American or uniquely Western point of view from someone like Carrie, that someone that has the time and the money, the resources, the space, the spaces, the support, the community to be able to do these types of activities. This does not exist all around the world. Here's another question, bringing it back down to the show more. What did you think about hearing this type of episode for This Is Actually Happening? It's not exactly the type of episode we usually do. What did you think about it? Like including it?
It's funny. Yeah.
Because you can't...
It did seem a little bit different from the rest of the episodes. I thought, I thought though at one point, because I come in fresh. For some reason, I thought it was going to be connected to like the other skydiving one.
Oh,
I was like, oh my God, is this going to be the one where the tandem
teacher.
person? I was like, oh my God, what is this going to be the other person?
We probably would have put them back to back.
I don't know. I was like, you guys are tricksters. I don't know what you're doing. I was trying to trick me.
I think usually we have stories of people that have been transformed, right? They start off one way and they end up another by the end of the episode. And this one, it's like Carrie has always been who he is through and through and through and through. I think this is a story.
You get more who he is.
Yeah. This is a story despite losing so many people around him, despite his constant brush with death, he keeps pursuing this self that he believes he is.
That's what the ascent thing just kept going higher, higher, higher.
Yeah.
He never.
And it's just a story like this, even though it doesn't fit the paradigm we have exactly, it's so fascinating. A story from this type of person is so rare to get a glimpse inside this type of life.
Yeah.
Did you like the episode?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
So he basically lies out this framework for a childhood of adventure and idyllic sort of childhood, and he did as much as he could outdoors, and it feels like it was during a time when, yeah, you couldn't really be an indoor kid. You were forced out onto the streets. And it's just interesting how a kid can get just attached to doing something adventurous, and then that's what they do now.
Yeah, not at all. I was very much an indoor kid, so I couldn't quite.
We were commonly told, you have a pool outside, why don't you go outside and use it? That was said to us a lot.
But you did use it a lot.
Yeah, we did. But we also wanted to watch TV or play on a computer.
Yeah, I played a lot of video games. I was really good at that. Not to brag, right?
He talks about, this first big incident. He's out scouting or on a scouting trip, and he just luckily scales a rock and doesn't die. I mean, it sounds like he should have.
See, that's the moment where that would change my, like right there, and I'd never do that again. Like, oh wow, I cheated death. Now I'm good.
He talks about it so matter-of-factly, and he even says when he was a kid, he didn't freak out. It didn't traumatize him. It should have, but he loved it. It just made him like crave more adventure, and then he didn't even parlay it into a story.
Didn't tell anyone.
He gets back and he's like, "Oh, I just went for a walk.
Quick walk." He's like,
"This is a one self-possessed motherfucker."
Yeah.
At the very least, if I put myself in like harm's way, I'd have to tell the story around it.
I'd be taking selfies, telling everybody. There'd be articles.
It'd be my new thing.
It'd be
talked about.
Yeah. That would have been my story. That would have been years. I'd be riding on that story. I wouldn't even be, I wouldn't have to do anything anymore.
Right.
That would be the story.
That's the story.
But no.
So he basically talks about how his whole life is great. And then, the skiing and the water.
Blah, blah, blah. Great life. Great life.
He's outside.
Outside, active.
He's dying. Going
so fast forward to that.
He's on the diamond slopes.
Black diamonds.
He's swimming with the eels.
Okay, next page. Keeping death. More trips. Okay. More adventures. Okay.
And then he met this kid Lee who liked war.
War.
He was into war ideas. And well, they find out that they can go to boot camp for National Guard between their junior and senior years, and they do this, and they get to like throw grenades.
I mean, it does sound pretty cool. I mean, it's like a safe space, dangerous safe space.
Again, this is for someone that's absurdly privileged.
Yeah.
Most kids that get sucked into the armed forces in this country have to do it because of socioeconomic issues.
Right. That's right.
Or a fucking draft. So this is like...
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
A golden era for him. He gets to do it for funsies, and he just never has to go to war.
It's so funsies. It's like the sergeants, they just yell at you to make you smile. I'm like, do they? I'm so confused. I've never seen that perspective before. They just do that, to make you laugh.
The drill sergeant's hilarious.
They make you do push-ups. It's so easy to do like 200 push-ups.
And they get back to high school, and they're the coolest guys there.
Oh yeah, we're tough looking.
This is in like 1980. So if you think about this time frame, this is sort of before indoor kids were becoming a real thing. And they actually got to go and see a different part of the world and had a different experience than most other kids would get to have. And of course, they had buzzed haircuts. So these guys were like top dogs senior year. So he gets way into flying and aviation, and he decided he needed one amazing adventure per year. He was going to die.
I feel that way about like having like one trip per year.
Again, that's privilege though, isn't it?
Yeah. But I don't feel like I want to die if I don't.
Well, he's got to have an adventure with danger. And he needed
where you're
more.
Almost going to die.
I mean, I guess you could argue that Carrie, instead of being a heavy drug user who's ascending the scale of getting higher and higher drug-wise. He's just doing it adventure-wise,
Naturally, yeah.
which is actually a lot
That's the way
better
to
for
do it.
you. And he talks about his first time going skydiving. And he goes up in this beat-up old airplane, and his whole life changed. Fun, excitement, danger, and camaraderie.
I mean, totally.
The cornerstones of trauma bonded.
Without all the danger.
Without the danger.
Have the danger, though.
There's some
Emotional danger, right?
And he talks about all the ways that his danger got more extreme with the free falling and the playing in the clouds.
The formations.
And he was talking about something where you're like, he keeps waiting for the packs to get smaller and more dangerous. And he buys the newest ones. I don't know what that was. All I kept thinking was, these hobbies sound really expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Kathy was an adventurer herself, and she supported him greatly in his need for risk. And she also wanted to jump, and her first 6 jumps were great. Not so lucky number 7.
Hop and pops.
Hop and pops.
That's what she was doing, hop and pops. You free fall for 5 seconds and you pull the ripcord.
It's crazy.
Because when I did mine, you free fall for like a minute.
Yikes. So Kathy she lands in a tree safely. Like, she's completely still fully alive and uninjured.
Yeah.
But she's high up.
Yeah.
And so Carrie is climbing the tree to attempt to figure out a way to get her down. And she takes off her harness and her helmet and is basically making this case of, I am capable of taking care of myself, and I am going to get down this tree by myself. So she's being a little bit hard-headed, stubborn, maybe, also living on this edge, living in this risk, this danger. And it doesn't work out for her. She loses her grip on a branch and falls to her death. And in that moment, in the episode, I mean, it was really, really sad to think about, especially considering Carrie's grief about it. You know, if it hadn't been for him, would she have even gotten into this activity, you know? And he felt like it was his fault because he was leading the rescue. What could he have done differently?
I mean, it's just hard. I just wish she just didn't get out of that harness.
I know. And he does go into a hole of grief for a while, and he emerges and he decides to become an instructor to help people. He says at that moment he could either take the loss of Kathy as this turning point in the road where he might not ever be close to someone again or help someone again, but instead he takes the opposite road. He wants to pass on all of this knowledge and instruction that seems to come so naturally and easily to him to others. What an incredible thing to be able to say out loud. Skydiving just comes to me very easily. Again, it's just something it's a world I have no knowledge of. And even after losing someone so close to him, it still never occurs to him that he could die. And he loves malfunctions. And the next big story of loss is the whole plane of friends goes down. He tells the story of a plane crash in Osceola. It gets T-boned by another plane, which is also being driven by a student. And that's also crazy. And he says no one in the club dropped out, and they all recognize that death is just part of this deal. Again, we go join the local pickleball team. We might have a stroke on the court, but
yeah,
we expect to come home alive every time we do it, right?
And if someone got a stroke while I was playing pickleball, I'd be like, I'm quitting right now.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah. Too strenuous.
Yeah.
Sidebar, I've moved to the North Bay.
Elly is now our neighbor.
I live 1 mile down the road.
I can get to her house in 8 minutes.
7 without traffic. When's the last time we lived next to each other? 2014. So Carrie learned all about fairy flying, and he heard about what this entailed, and he didn't run screaming back to his house. Hell no. He said, who is going to fall into the ocean next so I can have a turn? Oh, someone died? So there's an opening. And what fairy flying is just flying little private planes all around the world to people that buy them.
So is it like those tiny planes that you take from, I don't know, like whatever to whatever, like San Francisco to Santa Rosa or whatever?
Yeah, probably seat 6. No, not even that big. No, these are like private, like little.
Oh, even smaller?
I assume they're like twin engine, like they sit 4 to 6 people kind of thing.
There were so many words at that point.
Oh, he said a lot of acronyms and types. And what happens during his training, T?
What happened?
He sits in the guy's office and they drink scotch and talk about all the ways he could die doing it.
Yeah.
So they head off and it's 2 planes going at the same time. But Pete takes off 15 minutes prior and then Carrie leaves. And it's his first outing ever. And he has to cross the Atlantic. He's never done this before. Like, can you imagine getting out in the middle of the way he describes it, being out in the middle of the ocean, you look back, like lands behind you, and you look forward and to the sides, and all you see is water. And you're in this little rickety plane with your 12-pack of Diet Mountain Dew, like a psycho. And Pete calls Carrie because he loses his Macaulay Culkin machine part, and they fly in formation to land.
So this is the time for me. I mean, I never do this, but for me, I'm like, okay, that was good. I'm done now.
I think that's...
If that's the first, that's 1 out of 1. I'm thinking the second time probably similar, if not worse.
And again, every time that Carrie gets through one of these terrible ordeals and he lands the plane and he walks away from the plane, there's no fanfare whatsoever. I couldn't handle that. And again, it's making me realize how much I need others' approval to do fucking anything, and how wickedly self-possessed he is that he can just like do this shit and walk away with just the satisfaction that he solved a problem in the moment. And he doesn't require any attention or praise or, oh my God, I can't believe it. I
know. There's something wrong with you.
Audible's best of 2024 picks are here. Discover the year's top audiobooks, podcasts, and originals in all your favorite genres. From memoirs and sci-fi to mysteries and thrillers, Audible's curated list in every category is the best way to hear 2024's best in audio entertainment. Like a stunning new full-cast production of George Orwell's 1984. Heartfelt memoirs like Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson's Lovely One. The year's best fiction, like The Women by Kristen Hanna, and Percival Everett's brilliantly subversive James. Audible. There's more to imagine when you listen. Go to audible.com/imagine and discover all the year's best waiting for you.
Forget one-size-fits-all diets. With Noom, you get a personalized weight loss plan that's tailored to your lifestyle. Have cravings? Food FOMO? Noom can help you lose weight while still enjoying your favorite foods. Noom's users love the flexible approach, blending psychology and biology to help you lose weight in a way that's sustainable for you. Plus, you can rest assured Noom's approach is grounded in science. They've published more than 30 peer-reviewed scientific articles describing their methods and effectiveness. Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com.
I know. Or him.
No,
it's not him.
Something
it's
wrong
not
with
him.
this. That we need all this praise.
And up until this point, there's been no GPS.
I GPS from my house to your house. You live a mile away.
Therese and I stopped at Popeyes for a bucket. It's a place she's driven by 1,000 times.
I've lived here for 2 years.
We went to pull out of the parking lot, and I watched her put her address up on the Maps app
GPS.
to get home. It's less than a mile. It's 2 roads to do it. I didn't say anything to you in the moment because didn't want you to feel
That's
bad.
what I do. What if there's traffic?
You want
What
to
if
take
I-
you're going to take the reroute.
What if the vacuum pump? What if I have to go in formation? We don't know. I don't know what happens.
So he's flying out of Morocco, and he's told that there's a haboob is
Dust
coming.
storm.
And instead of saying, maybe you should leave the plane on the ground, Carrie,
No.
and wait another day
No.
until the haboob leaves, they're like, get the fuck out of here. We
Yeah.
got to close shop. And he does.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being a pilot and being told, hey, there's a haboob coming? What's a haboob? It's a dust storm.
Okay, I'll get out of
Okay,
there
I'm going to
now.
fly away into the dust storm. It's fucking mental.
And if I make it, I'm not going to tell anybody. And if I don't, all right.
So this is one of these 14-hour flights, and halfway in, he gets this alarm, and this is where he sees an RBL, really bad light. And something says low voltage, and that's a bad sign.
Yeah.
His whole power goes out, and he's just flying in pitch darkness.
Well, he turned everything off. He's like, let me just turn everything off.
Well, he said he went to do something, and he keyed it. And,
then,
like, you can, like, key a mic when you just, like, go to turn it on. And just even
just
that little bit.
Everything went dead.
So it's still 8.5 hours till sunlight, and he's in this pitch black. You don't even know where anything is. Where is anything?
You just keep going.
Just keep going.
Like, what if you go, it was 8.5 hours. What if you slightly go a little left? Are you going the wrong, like 1 degree?
And he's not
to
telling
the left.
people. Is he just like, is it possible that a 747 could be in his way at some point? And like, is he, if he doesn't have any power, he can't relate to people in the
that he's there.
He must be on there must be a radar.
Maybe he's lower.
This is
because he's small.
We know nothing about the world. You know, when we started this podcast, I thought we know some stuff.
We must. Are we going to know something about this? If they're like, you're going to have to know something about the Q400 mini twin engine, like, I'm not going to know about the RBLs and
we didn't know anything.
Fuel injection. I'm not going to study up on that because episode 341 is going to be about I can't.
You would think, though, like, we didn't know anything about boating rules last week.
And I still don't. We're like, do you have to have lights? Are you by the dock? What's happening?
So finally, he gets to the clouds. It's a surreal moment. He does some shit. He finds a place to land. And again, no one's there with a banner and balloons going, he did it. He just walks away.
Yeah.
And he replays it in his mind. And he says he does not have this luxury of panic nor emotions. And he has to be confident and analytic.
I love that, by the way.
I do too. And I wish I could be more like that in my life.
I want to think about that. Like when I'm panicking, when I'm, or when there's like an emergency situation, which again, I think we have some sort of privilege when there isn't ever an emergency situation, or when there's like we're never in a situation ever.
We problem solve all the time, though.
But there might be a problem-solving situation, like a tiny one, and we probably panic when it's not necessary.
Like, I don't have time to get the charcuterie board ingredients. What am I going to do? Wait.
I'm so stressed. Wait.
I got it. Venmo me the money and I'll Instacart it.
Yeah. You're like, I don't have the luxury of panic right now. Let me just get into problem-solving mode.
How can I solve this with logic and analytics?
Yeah.
Use your tools.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Ingredients received.
This isn't a life or death situation.
But you needed that charcuterie board at the baby shower. I will say this. In a high-stress situation, if someone else is freaking out, I do stay calm.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
Because I am all about balance. I have to be in a room that's balanced. So if I'm the one freaking out, other people can't be freaking out. Someone else has to be calm. So if someone else decides they're going to freak out, then I get calm.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Again, if we're in a plane I'm literally gonna, if that happened to me, what happened to Carrie, I would just, put on my eye
I would
mask,
lie down.
lay back, wait for
Oh,
the
there's
end.
no way. Yeah, I can't problem solve that. I wouldn't be able to do that.
I guess if you knew all that you could know about, this is the whole, like, you got to know the rules to break the rules. And these are the people that I feel like do the best in life because they get taught how to do something and then realize that every situation doesn't fit that exactly. And if you can use that to better problem solve, then you're doing better than most people. He just happens to do it in very extreme situations, but he's been trained, like he understands, the words.
That 3-hour training with the scotch apparently was really helpful. I didn't realize.
But he already knew all the stuff.
No, there's all because he knew all the stuff already.
I'm trying to think of an equivalent of something that you and I could do.
The film quotes, right? We've got that. So if there's some sort of emergency, trivia.
Oh, we did pretty good as backup for Friends trivia.
We really did, didn't we? And we got 3rd place. We sure did. There were a lot of people there.
Carrie's not showing up for Friends trivia.
No, he doesn't know what the hell.
He would have sucked at that.
And by the way, we're not like Friends freaks or anything. We just watched it a little bit and we just knew.
We knew it was important information to retain. I never even got past season 5. And I knew stuff.
Yeah.
So he marries a second Kathy. And this is the moment where we find out that fairy flying doesn't pay that well.
Which is unfortunate.
What the fuck?
Why would you ever do this?
And now I have to know what it pays because people that buy private planes probably have some money, and you're asking this person to do the solo mission of bringing it to your ass. I gotta know because I'm like, what does this even mean?
Well, that one, they were bringing 2 planes to this one person.
An average annual salary for a ferry pilot is $130,000. Top earners, 175, 25th percentile, 100K.
A question.
Yes.
How many trips are they doing a year?
I don't know. This is the AI overview.
Well, I want to know, then ask AI how many trips they're doing a year. It better be a quarter trip a year.
A quarter trip?
Like 1 trip every 4 years.
A copy.
Like, I'm not trying to, you know what I'm saying?
Well, how do I say that?
So how many trips per year does a ferry flyer take per year?
Okay.
Here we go. It's more than 1, which seems like a lot.
Okay, we can't spend any more time on this. Do some research and get back to us if you want to know.
Thanks, guys.
I mean, it sounds like it's a pretty nice living, but I guess for the risk that is included, it's not.
Because you'll be back in like 2 or 3 days if you're back. So he continues to ferry fly despite them starting a family. He just had to do this delivery to France because there's a new plane, even though he'd prefer not to drive a new plane because you'd rather it be worked out, the kinks, etc. Mm-hmm. But it's got that new plane smell. He's so funny. Did you meet him?
Yeah. Our interview was funny because it was literally me going, oh my God, and then what? And then, oh my God. Just like, I'm sitting in my house. I haven't showered in 3 days.
Oh my God. Was it like Remy?
But I remember asking him, what does your family think about this? He's like, they're all in it too. It's like, oh my God, dude. It's like there are pockets of society that I have never come in contact with except for the show.
Yeah,
it's so
easy.
Exciting. But yeah, I can talk to some people and like we have this automatic kinship because of past experiences or current perspectives. And Carrie was completely lovely and we enjoyed conversating together. But in the end, him and I are worlds apart. So at some point, he's 5 hours over the ocean, and he goes to transfer some gas or some shit, whatever they're doing there.
This was the most confusing. I listened to this a lot, this part, because I didn't understand what, and how do you realize like what to do here? I couldn't picture it. I couldn't understand like how you could like problem solve to do this. I couldn't understand how you would know how much, how often, any part of any of this.
Well, because we're coming in from a perspective of
Watching Al 50 times in your lifetime.
zero knowledge. He's
fascinating.
At this point,
wow. He could be a professor.
So basically, he explains at the beginning of the episode that because of the nature of the size of these planes, the fuel tank isn't big enough to make these long distance flights. So they have this kind of auxiliary fuel tank in probably the passenger area, but there are no passengers. So there's this way. Again, this is my rudimentary understanding of what he's talking about, where you do a transfer of fuel from the auxiliary tank to your main tank.
Okay.
He goes to do it. He looks at the gauge.
Yeah.
And nothing transferred. And he's like, oh, fuck. And then he realizes that they've lost the pressure. It's like a pressurized tank, and the pressure is stopped. So he knows he's got to create pressure to move the fuel from the tank to
help it move over.
Right. And he likens it to blowing up an air mattress, but it's way worse than that.
We've done. That was the only way I understand. Like, I understood what that... We've done that before.
Yeah, but not in this kind of scenario where he's wicked high, so the oxygen's already thin.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got, it sounds like a tolerance for it, but he talks about how he's getting lightheaded and hypoxic, and because he's also got to do this math, right? So he blows for a while. He blows for a while. And then he sees, based on the time spent blowing, how much fuel he was able to move from one tank to the next. And he does the math, digga, it's moved, and he figures out that's 5 gallons. And so that he knows basically he's going to have to do this all night long, which he does.
So maybe he was passing out sometimes or no?
He said he was. I wrote down, he has to blow up an air mattress all night long while crossing the Atlantic Ocean at night in the dark by himself.
We only had to do it at night while in Austin, while drinking. What were we drinking?
Everything. And it was a single person air mattress. It wasn't even like a queen or anything. It was like a floaty practically. We all took turns and we were all dying.
I know.
Like, let's go smoke. So he does this amazing heroic thing. He talks about it's one of the greatest feats ever accomplished in aviation. And he gets there. And there's no fanfare again.
I love this because this is one of our blowing up this air mattress in Austin and drinking. It was what's that one? I'm thinking of us drinking that. It's the alcohol, the green alcohol. Like you see green fairies. What's that called again? Starts with an A.
Anesthesia.
Anesthesiologist.
Pocket theory. What is it?
Yeah. That's
fucking
right.
Absinthe.
Absinthe, right? We were drinking absinthe, and there were like 5 of us or something. And we've told this story for years, right? Since it's been 15, 20 years telling this story.
Yeah.
And this dude, he had to do this all night long by himself. It saved his own life. He didn't tell anybody until like this podcast.
Well, he's written 2
best-selling. But we haven't written our book yet. But about that air mattress. But he didn't have fanfare.
I think the point you're making.
The point I'm trying to say is
we finished the air mattress and high-fived probably 100 people outside the house.
There's a lot of cheering.
Whereas he just walks off the plane and is like, well, guess I'll put that in a book someday. Let me read you this. I read this on a subreddit, and there was this post. Sometimes Reddit can be a really powerful force for good when it's not destroying your will to live. And someone said, what's a game-changing insight your therapist casually dropped during a session that completely shifted how you see things? And so people write in like their examples of what was said to them. And the one that stuck out to me was this, and I had sent it to my sister. Someone wrote in and said, I had a massive procrastination issue when it came to my uni assignments, to the point where I wouldn't even hand some in, but somehow always did well in group assessments. This was how that conversation went. So you struggle in lone assignments? Yes, but not in group assignments. Yes, I don't want to let my teammates down, but it's okay if you let yourself down. She said that last thing like a fact, not a question, and it really opened my eyes to how low my self-esteem was, that I saw nothing wrong with failing myself. And then they continue, when the therapist said that sentence above, that was the first time I'd ever heard of anyone dealing with what I was going through. I've been reading everyone's replies, and while I knew deep down I wasn't the only one who's dealt with this, I never had confirmation because no one else in my life deals with this kind of issue. All these replies have made me very teary-eyed, knowing that there are others out there who can relate. So what stuck out to me in this post is, and I felt the same way. I'll put myself out because I don't want to let other people down. But why am I so okay with letting myself down?
That's big.
Right?
That's huge.
It really hit me hard. So I say all this to say, Carrie gets this through and through. He loves himself. He wouldn't let himself down. Now, granted, he's doing these things because it's his job and he owes it to, his company or whatever, but it feels like that's very secondary for him. To him, it's about getting into a situation and figuring it out and making it work and walking away knowing that he did that and wondering how he can improve on the next one. And he has no praise and no fanfare. Okay, he does have 2 best-selling books, and that probably feels pretty good. But I just wish I had that kind of self-possession, is the only way I can think of to put it, where I just do something because it's of a great joy or benefit or a goal achieved for me, and not so it's something I can tell someone else.
It's interesting because it's like, I don't know, in a group project or something. And when like you and me working together, it's like, oh, I know I have to have this ready by this time. No, I have to have like my heart ready, or I have to, listen to this a couple times, make sure I'm ready to go, and you have really low expectations for it. So it's great. But I owe it to you to make sure I've got my shit together. But then I'm thinking about it, when you've got whatever you've got to have for your stuff, you owe it to yourself, right? To make sure you've got it for your own stuff, whatever you've got. So that I think you have to have it in your brain that you owe it to yourself to do it.
But I only do this for you.
No, I'm saying for whatever you...
Are you saying you for me?
No, I'm saying... No, I was just giving an example.
You're saying you understood for him?
Just for an example, I'm saying because of the group project, you and me.
Yeah.
But when it's a project on your own...
Me.
Yeah, if it's just something you're doing on your own, you have to think you owe it to yourself to get something done for yourself.
And that is the time that I procrastinate the most.
That's what I'm saying. Instead of you saying you owe it to me to get the brief done, to get the intro, to get the cold open done, you could do a lot more for this than I do. But if that's the way you feel when you get stuff done, because you owe it to me, I don't know if you feel that way, but for your own project,
to us as trauma bonded.
But when it's your own projects, you owe it to yourself to get it done.
But have you noticed how few individual projects I do? Almost everything I do is with a co-person because I know myself and I know that I'm not self-motivated and I'm not a self-starter and I'm not goal-oriented.
You've got a lot of projects going. I find you to be very collaborative, which I think is a good thing.
I have to be because I can't do it on my own.
I wouldn't say you can't do it on your own.
Maybe can't is the wrong word, but I'm not motivated to do it on my own.
I think you should. It's the wrong language, I'd say.
You're the wrong language.
Well, you're racist, aren't you?
And there we have it.
ESL, right?
So my point is we should think enough of ourselves to not want to fail ourselves. That's my point. And that's a practice that I want to wrap my arms around and try and think. And I want to think about that every time I'm willing to let myself down for even a minute. Like, I don't feel like working out today. I don't feel like walking today. I don't feel like not eating bacon today or whatever it is. Like usually it's around my body. Well,
that's messed up because I gave you bacon today.
This is an example. You know, at some point though, it's like, anyway, Kathy, cut this shit out.
Sorry.
We got to finish.
I just took it personally because I gave you bacon. I don't know why.
I took the bacon.
It's my fault, I feel like.
Okay. So it's
just weird because...
I love this. He decides fairy flying is too dangerous. I'm about to be a father. I need to be more responsible. I'm going to open a skydiving school. Safety first.
Yes.
Putting my feet on the ground. I mean, no. And he's lost a lot of friends. He relays this sort of final story about how he thought he lost his friend Pete and he just kind of accepted it. But then when he saw he was still alive, it like rocked his world. It overwhelmed him with emotion because he was so relieved.
He kind of hardened himself almost to just expect it.
Why is he the way that he is? Do you think anyone can end up like this? Do you think this is something in your DNA? What is this? How do you end up being like this?
Which part? The adventurous part or the...
Yeah, the whole like needing risk, adventure, danger. Where does it come from? Is it biology or is it environmental? It
feels like it was like really from the beginning.
I know. He says that he feels like this call to adventure is the calling of his life.
It's like his core.
Is it a calling?
It feels like it. Right?
But toward what end? This is going back to this first original heart of mine, this whole needing to feel alive, to really live life. If that's the goal, if that is what he's striving for, if that's the feeling he needs to feel is living, then are the rest of us doing it wrong?
But that's just how he's feeling he needs to live, right?
I like to climb mountains and risk avalanches. Like, who talks like that? Beetlejuice.
Seinfeld. Reruns.
He says, let's end on this note. He says, without risk, life is nothing. Is that true?
I think it's true for him.
Do you think it's true?
To an extent, yeah. 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 In a safe way, yes.
I'm not going a safe way.
I think, yes, as long as you're safe. I would agree with that 100%.
We want to take a moment to give a big shout out to Nicola. Nicola?
No, I think it's probably
Nicola. Sorry, Nicola. From London. She wrote us a really lovely email.
Thank you.
And it just warms our hearts. And I know that I previously said that we respond to everyone and we have not responded to you. And I apologize for that. So please take this mention of your email.
No, we're going to respond.
No, okay, we're going to respond.
But this is part of the response. We appreciate it.
We appreciate it so much. And just thank you for making us feel seen and heard and loved. Big love right back to you. Thank you for listening. This has been an episode of Trauma Bonded. You can find our show where podcasts are kept. Please rate and review us. Thanks to Carrie for sharing their story and giving us the opportunity to talk about it. And thanks to the This Is Actually Happening team, including Whit, Missildine, and Andrew Waits, and the maker of our music and website, Nathaniel Tremboli. And thanks to beautiful, lovely Forrest Chiras for editing this episode, and to Katie Capel for building those blasted Instagram posts. Please subscribe to us at YouTube. You can find us on Gmail somewhere. There's an Instagram page that people sometimes go to. We even have a website. Fun, excitement, danger, and camaraderie. That's Trauma Bonded. Thanks for spending time with us today. Love you, T.
Love you, Elly. Good job. Hey, thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Okay. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Trauma Bonded.